Sorry, I sneezed like 7 minutes ago, and it's just been. I have to check. God damn
Can
it.
you stop? Jesus.
You don't have to look, man.
You don't have to do it. I'm on a video call. What do you want me to do? Oh my God. Just let me know when you're done, I guess. Jesus. Welcome to May the Review Be With You, Nick and Joe. I'm Joe.
And I'm Nick. And today we are continuing our time travel draft where we each draft a movie in a specific category. Today's category is Secret Time Travel Film. We are on Joe's pick, none other than Denis V's Arrival.
All right, Arrival. Nick, I've been
Joe.
so excited for this movie. Basically the whole draft, I just really wanted to rewatch this movie in particular. This was the one. So,
well, I'm sorry
for the
that
record,
we waited till the very end.
No, for sure. It's okay. It was worth the wait. Although we still do have like a couple other films to go in this time travel draft. We are so close to the end of this time travel draft. And for the record, if you haven't caught up on the time travel draft, Nick has laid out all of our time travel draft films, including the beginning where we actually drafted all of this on the channel over at May the Review Be With You on YouTube. So take a listen or a look at that if you get the chance. I still remember exactly where I was on the couch, which house I was in the first time I watched this film, and how shocked I was when the revelation of what the weapon is or what the language does to the mind and its capacity for understanding the flow of time, and mostly the twist of the movie, which I guess we'll get to. But in any case, Nick, I chose this movie because it rocked my world the first time I saw it. I think it's a brilliant movie. It was my first exposure to Denis. When we would come to love his movies after this, Blade Runner, Dune, 1 and 2. He's a really, he's a really awesome immersive sci-fi director, but like also he's so good at handling like these big visuals that you see in all four of these movies that we're talking about. And in this movie's no exception, especially with the grand splendor of these ships that come in. But at this point, I think I am stalling because
You are.
Well,
I'm
yeah.
waiting for you to stop talking so I can call you out because you have a 15-second summary to do, sir. So, without further ado,
Can you just remind me?
summary.
It's been a while. It's been a while. What do I have to do again?
You have to summarize Arrival in 15 seconds.
Yeah, I can do it.
And
Easy
after 15
peasy.
seconds, I will give you a score.
Okay.
Anyway, you're still stalling. Arrival, 15-second summary. 3, 2, 1, go.
A linguist is tapped by the U.S. government to make contact with aliens that arrive on the planet. There are 12 ships. She tries to break the language barrier. She does, and it opens up her mind and the flow of time, and she ends up finding out that she's going to have a baby girl, and the baby girl is going to die, but she accepts that anyway because she's an awesome person and she loves life. Let's go. I think I did pretty good there. So I don't know about the loves life, but like, it's sort of there.
At the end, it was a little inaudible. I think it's a B.
Well, if you could have heard it, it was an A+.
Only because I can't replay it for myself.
I see.
You know, it's I'm watching the clock and trying to listen to you at the same time, but it's tough. It's tough to watch the clock and also listen to you.
Multitasking is tough, man. And so is opening your consciousness to language that is dictated by space and time. All right, that's a B from Nick. I think that's a bit rigged, but whatever. I am happy with my own summary. In any case, yeah, Nick, I've been gawking about this movie. Arrival. How was it for you?
I think this is like the 6th time I've seen it all the way through. This is one of my favorite movies. And I think that I realized something for the first time during it that I'm sure we'll talk about, that you've probably already recognized the first couple times, but this might be the best time travel movie ever. Although we're talking about time travel, and it's like I'm not 100% sure it's technically time travel, so which is the weird part. Like
So I want to cut in here because Nick, I had the same thought. Like I was like, all right, I'll reserve this judgment for when we actually place this in the category.
Yeah.
Um, but I was thinking about it and I was like, there is time involved in this. I don't know if time travel is exactly how I would frame this anymore.
It's very interesting because in an essence, she is time traveling, but really just with memory. It's fascinating. It's why it's just such a fascinating film and one of my favorites. And like, there's no right because like if we're gonna get into what is the mechanism for time travel, the mechanism is language. And
All right, we're just
and
skipping right ahead, baby. Let's go right
right,
into the time travel. Let's go.
I mean, I, I know but you can't talk about the movie without talking about the time travel. So like, and the mechanism, it kind of like is a whole.
It would make it easier because like the first like two sentences of the movie is actually like a direct reference to the twist of the movie.
Right. I mean, and it opens the movie opens in the same place it really ends, right? Which is like looking out over her lake or whatever, like in her home.
Right. And I believe she says something along the lines that time and memory don't work the way that she thought that they did.
Right. Yeah, and so it's so hard to talk about the movie without talking about that whole mechanism. But and to that point, like you like the time travel is based on learning a specific language, but you have to, and as you learn it, you gain more like ability or knowledge. Yeah,
I'd say like
anyway.
it changes. I forgot what they called this, but Dr. Ian Donnelly, Jeremy Renner's character, he calls out Dr. Banks, played by oh my God, is it Rachel Adams or Amy Adams? I always mix them up.
Amy.
Amy Adams, Dr. Banks, played by Amy Adams, and he calls her out for a very specific effect. That if you immerse yourself in a language, that your thoughts, the way that you compose your ideas, the organization of that changes based on the rules of the language that it is that you have immersed yourself into. So he asks, are you dreaming in their language? And that's what's happening to her, right? Her mind is rewiring itself. The neurons are reorganizing to interpret reality the same way that they do, which was to move through dimensions in a way that humans just don't fundamentally, right? Through space, through time. And suddenly, like, all of her memory throughout all of her lifetime is unlocked.
Right. And but that just brought up a question for me is it all of her memory for her all of her lifetime, or is it only her memory with her child
Mm. Yeah, the movie
specifically?
doesn't make that clear.
You know?
I I think I want to say just based on broad strokes, that it's not that she's experiencing all of time at the same time.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm only basing that on the conversation that she has with General Shang, that ultimately saves the world, right? Um, so and based on that, I'm assuming that it's not just uh, the moment with the moments with her daughter,
Right.
but it's her life.
Yeah, and that scene is fascinating. Oh my god. It's so
So,
good.
so Nick, let me ask you though, like, I mean, since we're talking about time travel, the mechanism is like her own mind is traveling through time, right? And like the
Mhm.
conduit is her body, right? But her
Right.
mind fast forwards or reverses, right?
Right.
I shouldn't say reverses. I don't think we ever see it reverse. We only ever see it go forward, right?
Right. Well, she's only like yeah, she's looking at the future, but it's affecting the present.
Her present. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. But that being the case, I would call it very Desmond Hume Lost-esque time travel, uh, consciousness through time, if you will.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely consciousness-esque time travel, for sure. But there's no implication that you can actually change the future,
anything,
though,
right?
right? It's like this
So,
is happening, and it's going to help in the current movie format. It helps the present, and it helps the civilization understand why these pods arrived, but there's no dialogue or information that implies that you can change anything that's going to happen necessarily. She just unlocks this ability to see everything in the future, but not necessarily be able to change anything, which is even more of an interesting concept. Like, I feel like if there was a second Arrival movie, it would have to explore the idea that you can then change the future. But the fact that her child still dies at the end implies that it can't be changed. Granted, they did tell us that the child had like a very rare form of disease. So, but we didn't really get any flash forwards, if you will, about her trying to get ahead
Mm.
of a diagnosis either, right? It kind of felt like she just kind of let that play out. So that's very
I
interesting.
no, I agree with this. I agree that there is some or I guess like a, lack of clarity. If I'm taking a stab at like what the movie's like laying out for us, it seems to me like it's treating the universe as if everything is like preordained, right? Everything already happens. But like the movie also like there's like one breadcrumb it laid out that like makes it seem like there is some form of small free will in all of it. And I'll get to that in a second. But like, as far as the preordained stuff, these aliens that come down, Abbott and Costello, which I love I love that is their names.
Yes.
Um, and uh, the aliens, we learn from them two things. We learn that humanity is going to save them in 3,000 years. And in order for that to happen, humanity needs to be able to speak not only their language, but they need to be able to perceive time the way that they do. It also seems like humanity needs to be united under one universal language, right?
Right.
Which that metaphor of all the tribes in the world being divided by language, that was really great. Love that. But the other thing that we learned from them, at least like that points towards things being preordained, is Abbott dies, right? Of the two aliens. We know that Abbott dies because some very scared and influenced humans went into the alien ship and ruined almost everything with the bomb getting ready to go off, which, we get the timer on the bomb. Costello leaves the room and Abbott stays so he can save Dr. Banks and Dr. Donnelly, right? The implication here is that he knew he was going to die. If he is even the right pronoun for Abbott, I don't freaking know. I don't want to gender assume here. But yeah, my point being, so there's a lot that seems to be preordained, including, as you mentioned, the death of the child, right? The one small breadcrumb of like free will that the movie gives is Dr. Donnelly, who marries Dr. Banks, and is of course the father of this child. We find out he has left her in the future at some point, and he is angry at her. And the reason why he is mad, the movie does not directly say this, but it heavily infers it, is that Dr. Banks told Dr. Donnelly that their daughter is going to die, and there's nothing they can do about it. And this ultimately changes the way that Donnelly looks at his daughter. And he says to her, "You made the wrong choice." That to me implies that there may have been some small free will here. I don't know how much that
Right.
actually changes things, but maybe that's the point. Maybe, these small changes don't change anything because everything's preordained, but or most things are preordained. But that's what I was taking from the movie anyway.
And what choice is he referring to? The choice to tell him, or the choice to go through with having a baby that is going to eventually
That's a
die?
that's a great that's a great
Like,
question. That's a great question,
it
and I
really,
don't
it
have an
really,
answer for that.
yeah. It doesn't really tell. We don't know. And if you take that question and ask and think about it, then it really opens up the fact it's like, what, it is possible then that there is still free will if you know what might happen, which gets really complicated. Like, if everyone knows this universal language and they can all see the future and they don't like what they see, they can just change it. But then how does that affect everything else?
unless it's
Basically,
not, unless it's all
we
preordained.
we need a second Arrival movie. I've decided.
I mean, I wouldn't complain. The first one is fascinating. Finding out the moment that we are past what I would call the language barrier, the barrier between the aliens and the humans, right? The moment we're past the language barrier, and Dr. Marks, or excuse me, Dr. Banks is speaking to Costello, and she keeps seeing the images of her daughter, like what we have believed this entire time were memories of the past, and she drops that line of, I don't understand. Who is that girl? I will never forget that moment. That was one of the best movie twists I've ever gotten to walk in totally blind to.
Yeah. And in that moment too, like, and this is the thing I alluded to at the beginning about realizing this finally on the sixth watch. Unless, I mean, I don't think I really understood this the first couple of times, but as she's learning the language, she starts having these memories or these visions of the future. And that's essentially her, like, we basically learn the language with her, like, throughout the film, right? Like, as she's learning the language, she's starting to get these, like, future visions. And then once she officially learns it, like, in that moment, she learns what it all means. And we kind of, like, learn it with her, right? And I thought it's really cool that the movie doesn't start giving you those, aside from the beginning, doesn't start giving you those, like, precursors or those visions or scenarios until we meet the aliens and she starts learning the language, basically. It's a cool little detail that the light bulb finally went off this time. I was like, oh man, this is cool.
Have you ever read Kurt Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse-Five?
No.
So first off, it's an awesome book, and it's short too. It's a super short read, but great book. It's about a guy named Billy Pilgrim, and Billy. This movie feels like it was so influenced by Slaughterhouse-Five. Billy is unstuck in time, and his mind is bouncing all over his entire lifetime. I think they call it, I'm going to screw this up, but I'm going to try. They call it supersynclastic infundabilium, where, yeah, right? Try and say that 5 times fast. Where your mind is unstuck from your own timeline, and you can perceive, like, all events of your entire life happening all at the same time. And it wasn't until watching this movie a second time that I actually thought about Slaughterhouse-Five, and it was like, there's no way he didn't read this and didn't get influenced by it. But I don't even think that's the only influence I saw in this movie. I definitely feel like there was some 2001: A Space Odyssey in this movie, with, like, the design of the alien ships that show up that feel very, like, monolith. There's even, like, a moment where they're first entering the ship and they're passing under it, and you see the ship from the bottom, and it's just looming over them. It's like almost the same shot that the monolith does at the beginning of 2001: Space Odyssey with the cavemen. There's one more thing I want to bring up, just as far as, like, Denny goes.
Yeah.
I didn't catch this the first time I watched this movie, and honestly, I've only seen this movie twice, so I couldn't have caught this the first time. He does a really cool visual detail with Banks's home, and then later with the alien's ship. With Banks's home in the lake house, the first shot of the movie is the camera lingers on what appears to be a dark background, and then all these lines that are just running forward. And then the camera pans down, and you see that we are in the lake house, right? But the thing that sticks with you, the first shot of the movie, is the ceiling that has these lines that are going all forward toward the lake, right? Later, fast forward, we're on board the alien spaceship. He does the same exact shot with the alien spaceship and the ceiling there, and it's not lines going forward. It's all these circles, it's all these rings, and they're all concentric, and they're all, like, running into each other. And it's very similar to the language that they show us, which we ultimately learn is this weapon or tool for unlocking your understanding of time. So it's almost like
non-linear.
Which is non-linear. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's all
Very
running
cool.
into each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have these two visual contrasts of the human way of living and the alien way of living.
Right.
Is really neat way to depict that.
And to segue into more time and time travel speak, we learn that when you learn this language, there's becomes no time. Time ends up being nothing, basically, and many become one, is what they say, right? Is what the aliens say, right? Like there's no time, many become one, which means it's nonlinear and it's all happening at once. And if it's all happening at once and there is no time, can it be a time travel film? If
So
tree
that's what
falls
you
in the
meant.
forest and nobody's around to hear, it doesn't make a sound.
You're trying to give me a 0 on what is going to be our favorite film of the draft. Are you kidding me, Nicholas?
I'm not trying to, Joe. I don't want to give you any zeros. I want to give you 5s across the board because this is definitely the best movie in all of the ones we've watched and we're going to watch, including Interstellar, and I'm saying that. But I have to ask the question, if there is no time, can it be a time travel film?
Oh, you're a son of a bitch, you know that? All right. I guess we're just skipping to the categories now, people. Let's just skip to the categories now.
Yeah,
All right, so Nick and I... Go ahead, Nick, go ahead.
No, we have to. Let's just go to the categories because you can't. The movie is too intertwined. We've already discussed the movie. Like we don't have to get too much into it. It's 10 years old. Go to the categories, Joe.
Okay, so when it comes to the time travel draft, Nick and I are competing against each other, and we rank these movies in 3 different categories. The first being what we thought of this movie overall, the method of the time travel. Does it work within the conventions of the movie, the rules that the movie laid out before the time travel? Does it follow its own rules, right? And then last but not least, how does the movie work in the category it was drafted in, which again, in this case was secret time travel movie, which is to say that the time travel is a surprise. So we'll wait to put the controversial one at the end here. Let's start with, what would you give this movie just overall out of 5?
Oh, a 5. It's a 5.
Yeah, it's an easy
like
5 for me
6
too.
out of 5. Like it's so damn good.
I'm actually glad we did not start with this movie because I would have hesitated to give it a 5. But no, it's clearly a 5.
It's clearly a 5. Yeah. Actually, if we've given any other 5s, we have to go back.
Gonna have to. Yeah, it's a weighted grade now. It's weighted against it.
We have to go back to the island, Joe. We have to go back.
We have to go back, Kate. Speaking of a show that tricked you into thinking that a memory was a flash forward or vice versa. So good. Okay. Category 2. How does the movie work within the category it was drafted? Again, secret time travel movie. I'm gonna start with this one. Okay, so like the first time I watch it, like obviously it hit me as a surprise. Second time I'm watching it, I'm like, is it a surprise though? Like if you're really paying attention, the movie's not trying to like really hide it too much from you. I think the first time I watched it, I made some assumptions about the memories, and maybe the movie's definitely doing that on purpose to you, right? You make assumptions about the memories. I think it is. I think it works in the category. I think it works well. Maybe not the best of the categories that we've had, right? I mean, like,
so
would this have worked would this have worked better in another category? Let me ask you that.
I don't think so, because the overall question is time travel. And like, I think that if you watch this movie once, you're like, yeah, this is a time travel film. And then if you watch it 2 times or 4 times or 5 times, then you start really asking the question. And when you're thinking about it, you're like, well, wait, is it a time travel film? And
I see your mind is opening up.
Me, once I've learned the language, I realize that this is simply not a time travel film because time does not exist. So it cannot be a secret.
Okay, this was just all your way of telling us you're better than us. Your mind is elevated on a higher plane. Okay.
No, I'm just making the argument against. I think that it fits brilliantly into the category because this is even more of like a holy shit, we're time traveling than like Interstellar. In Interstellar, we had a similar conversation about it not really being, time travel. But this movie, you don't like. I remember the first time watching it, it's like, I mean, there's like I think it was the last like 5 minutes. You're just like, holy fucking shit, what did I just watch? And I remember texting you like 8 years ago or 10 years ago, whenever we first watched this. I was like, Joe, holy shit, the ending of Arrival. And you're like, and I think you called me right away. Like we had this conversation like 10
Yeah,
years
we
ago for the
did.
first time, right? Like totally and we still don't know what to make of it.
I know. And Nick, I remember us having this conversation back then too.
Well, shit.
I was like
Um,
I was looking at this skinny, muscular dude, and I was like, who is that guy?
all right, easy there.
I'm just saying, progress, man.
It's not that kind of podcast, okay? um,
Redwood
but
tree, not hard to
I
see.
think I think it fits in the category extremely well because you don't realize what's happening till the very end. So it's definitely a secret. And you know what? Like there is a time travel esque to it. It's just not your body's not time traveling, right? Like in a lot of the traditional time travel films, you are physically going to the future and coming back and vice versa. In this one, it's just your
Well,
consciousness. Your
hang
consciousness
on a
is
second.
witnessing your
Yeah,
future.
yeah. Hey, but hang on a second. So physically, hear me out here. Hear me out. Physically, your body is going there. It's just doing it the long, boring way. It's your mind that's sped up because your mind needs your body, right? It's not like your mind just went without your body.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now you're really. Are you trying to like score yourself high here or low? Like I don't understand what you're trying to do here, but
I'm just
but
saying,
yes,
dude, it's time
you
travel, baby.
understand what I'm saying though.
Aren't
Like
we
you're
all
not
time traveling all the
your
time?
your mind is the only thing that's really going right. The mechanism. It's you learning like this specific language, and that way your mind can travel to your future self,
Mhm.
and then relay the information back. So in a way, you are traveling, right? You're traveling, and technically, you're time traveling because time is nonlinear now in this sense, right? And so I think it
Oh,
fits in the category very well. Um,
I'm gonna give it a 5 for the category because I'm feeling that way. What are you
yes,
gonna do?
I, despite my questioning of if time is nonlinear and doesn't exist, is it a time travel
Give it to
film?
me. Give it to me.
The answer to that question would be no. But based on all the other time travel films we've watched that have horrible obeyment of rules and don't obey their own rules and don't have any make any sense of it, this movie is like infinitely better than most. So I'm going to give it a 5 for the secret time
All
travel
right.
film.
This is good. This is good. I need to catch up big time because I've had some stinkers in these categories. Okay, and then the final one here, which I did this intentionally because I hoped that we might be able to come to some sort of time travel agreement before we got to um the mechanism of the time travel. Uh how well does it work? It seems like you've come back a little bit here
Right.
on your
Does it obey
opinion.
its own rules?
Yes.
Yeah. Does it obey its own rules? Yes. It totally obeys its own rules. And the proof is she does not have these visions of the future until she starts learning the language.
Oh, and actually, that's such a great. I wish we had said that before when we were talking about like, well, can she see her past? I'm going to assume no because she
Right.
didn't know the language. Right, that's like a definitive point in her life. She
Right.
can't see the past because she
You
didn't
can't
know
see.
the language then.
Yeah. So she can only see the future from when you learn the language. So
Right.
if you're born and you learn this language from when you were born, you can see everything. Right.
Look at that.
But
We figured it out.
if you're a 40-year-old or a 50-year-old who learns this language, you don't know, you can't go back. But that leads the question, from when you're born and you learn the language, can you go backwards? Can you see behind you? As a 30-year-old, can you go back to when you were 15? And if you can
I
go back
think
to
it.
when you were 15, can you in
Right.
any way affect any change for something that's already happened? Now the movie doesn't set any of this up. It doesn't ask any of these questions. We have no way of knowing the answer to that, but I want an Arrival 2 now because I want to know.
Well, let me ask you this because we have not really talked about or I guess Costello and the rest of the aliens. When they leave, are they leaving to go to some other like plane of existence within our present universe? and they can just see the future, and they know that in 3,000 years from now that they will need our help? Or did they come back from 3,000 years into the future to plant the seed in humanity to open up its mind for when they will require help 3,000 years from that point?
You're saying that the reason they showed up is because they were currently undergoing a problem that they
Right.
realized the only way that they could be helped was to come to this particular planet and get the help of these people in 3,000 years. And they knew for some reason that it would take 3,000 years for this language to take hold enough for it to be useful to be the help? Or did they already know that all of that works out and they're completing the loop, if you will, by coming back?
There's that too.
Which,
movie does not make it clear,
right.
but the only thing I have going for the latter of that theory, that they are completing the loop, as it were,
Right.
is
It's a little loopy. It does loop.
It's a little loopy. The ships don't blast off, right? The ships just fade out of existence.
They just fade.
Just gone. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Mm?
Yeah, that brings up more questions. I have no idea. I have just no idea.
So you give it a 5, right? You give it a 5?
I give it a 5. It's honestly it's 5s across the board. 5s across the board. Thoughts? Any other things you want to bring up about Arrival?
No, just that it's a beautiful movie. I don't think the first time I saw it, I understood the double meaning of the title. Or if I did, I've forgotten about it. That is the arrival of aliens, but like truly, it is about the arrival of her daughter, who is going to come into her life and bring her great joy and eventually great tragedy, and she accepts all of that.
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful movie about life, man, and about coming together. Go watch Arrival.
Fantastic film. Definitely go watch it if you haven't seen it. And to continue our time travel draft, we have 2 more movies left, and then we are done.
We have 2.
We've been doing this for about 2 years. This time travel draft in between releases, like insane. The last category is Pick the Unpicked. We realized after we were done picking the categories that we should probably do a 7th category. That was, let's go back and pick the one that we would have picked if we had enough room.
If you could go back in time and pick another film, what would it be?
We needed to pick we needed to time travel ourselves to pick one more film. So my movie that I picked was Tomorrowland, starring George Clooney. Joe picked Safety Not Guaranteed.
Safety Not Guaranteed. And Aubrey Plaza's in that movie. Yeah,
I think we're going to do Tomorrowland next just because we just did Joe's here. Does that make sense to you?
That works for me.
Great. So stay tuned for the next review in our time travel draft, Tomorrowland. In the meantime, you can follow us on Threads. Definitely hit the subscribe button and let us know in the comments on YouTube what you think about Arrival and the time travel draft as a whole. Again, you can see all of these time travel draft episodes on our time travel draft playlist, again, on YouTube. And yeah, until next time, friends.
May the review be with you.
Peace.